If you haven't connected with someone recently who you're thinking about and who's on your mind, what's a way to change that and to systematically be able to connect with people who are important to you? And for you today, I have one question that you can try out. But let me know even before I start, what are some things that you try? So if you think of somebody, how do you try to make that more systematic and procedural so you do reach out to the people who are important to you? So before I start with the question that actually motivates me to action, motivates other people that I know to action, let me tell you a story. It's a little bit of a self-deprecating story. So about 20 years ago, a group of friends and I were sitting around in a circle, and we were talking about whom people have romantic interests in, long time ago. And somebody, this might have been me, this might not have been me, somebody said, oh yeah, there's someone I have a romantic interest in. And someone else in our circle might have asked, oh really? Well, how do you connect with this person? How often are you in touch? And that the me character might have said, oh yeah, I reach out every 3 or 4 months. We have a great conversation. It's super. It works really well. And one of the other people in the circle said, oh my gosh, Senya, if I had a business development person who was reaching out to contact every 3 to 4 months, I would have to seriously consider letting them go. And that made me think that maybe that wasn't the best strategy. So today, if you are interested in connecting with people that you haven't connected with in a long time, here's something that might help. I was once working with a coach. So, coaches actually work with coaches. And I was once working with an executive coach, and I mentioned to her that one of the things that I really love to do is when I have a systematic or procedural or predictive way to reach out to people that are important to me in business as mentors. And she said, well, what do you call these people that you really like to reach out to? And I said, well, let's call them Marys, for example. Let's say one of these people is a Mary that I want to reach out to. She said, okay. My executive coach said, okay. And I said, so I want to reach out to these people, but it's just not very consistent. I'll send an email here. I'll send a text, make a phone call there. And the question she asked me is, what do you want to be saying to your Marys consistently? And the question that I now ask you is, imagine, put on this hat, imagine if you're a subscription service, your product, me, Senya Maiman, you, whoever you are looking at this video, if you're a subscription service, what would you like that subscription to be like? What do you want people to consistently learn from you, hear from you? And I'll give you some examples. When I've sent out an email to people that I've had as coaching clients or as former clients, sometimes I even include things that aren't very businessy, but that are relevant. For example, in the middle of a tense time, I might send out a Yo-Yo Ma video that's especially beautiful. Or I'll send out a conversation in somebody else's blog post, the kind of conversation that you might have with yourself as a leader. So things that make me think of the people that I've coached before. And the thing that worked for me, the prompt that worked for me is, if you were a subscription service, what would you want to send out? And I don't mean to make this sound very mechanical or rote. It's actually, I find it sort of invigorating. If you were sending out some information, what would be your style? So my style usually includes something beautiful in it, whether it's a picture or a video or some music. My style also usually includes, and you won't be surprised because you've been with me on these episodes for about 200 episodes. My style also often includes something that will light a spark in you, thought-wise or feeling-wise. So sometimes I'll send a part of a TED Talk or a summary of a TED Talk, or now sometimes I've sent some of these tools. So to recap, if you haven't connected with an important contact recently, what's something you can try? And the question that sparked this whole interest for me was when an executive coach of mine said, hey, Senya, how do you reach out to your Marys that you want to reach out to? And the way that I've changed it for myself, just as something that I can do more methodically, is what is that subscription service that I feel great about? The kind of content that I want to be sharing with people. And I'll give you some examples. I wrote some down before. If if there's a beautiful book that you're reading, a new book that you want to shout from the rooftops about, I happen to have one here, so I will share it. And let me check that you can see it on the screen. This book came in a couple of days ago, yesterday actually. Great book, super recommend it. I'll do a separate episode probably about it. But if you want to share a book, an image, a talk, an idea, a really short idea, something that you're doing that you think is interesting, but not braggy. So let me just emphasize, not braggy, but interesting or curious, or some research results you found in your own work that you want to share with people. And so I leave you with this. What content do you want to be sharing in a repetitive subscription-like way? And my two examples to you right now are with my family, with my kids. We've wanted to start a routine. We started this routine of doing riddles at certain times every day. That's a little bit like a subscription. We do a riddle and we do it consistently, and it's something we start to look forward to. And another example is when you have a group of people that you really respect or like. It might be in your same industry, might be a little different. Sometimes there's a way to bring them together for a brainstorming call for something fun, but that's part of your subscription offering, part of what you think is fun. Thank you for joining us today on If You Haven't Connected with an Important Contact, Try This. And the try this that I recommend is asking yourself the question, if I were a subscription service, what kind of content is really me? And what kind of content do I really want to share to help them, the people that I care about? Thanks.